What is up, everybody? It is JT Sports. I am back to you guys with another video, and I'm here with my Las Vegas Raiders 2021 record prediction. Going to be giving you guys my best case scenario, my worst case scenario, and my overall record prediction for the Las Vegas Raiders this upcoming season. Before I get into it, if you haven't already, make sure that you guys subscribe to the channel and turn on post notifications so you don't miss when I upload a new video. And most importantly, help a brother out. Hit that like button. That like button is really important because when you hit that like button, you help the channel rank higher in the YouTube search algorithm. If the channel ranks higher in the YouTube search algorithm, then the channel gets more views and the channel grows. So make sure that you guys hit that like button. It takes less than a second to do so, and it's a free way to help support the channel and help the channel grow. The Las Vegas Raiders last year finished 8-8 in second place in the AFC West. Now, I say this about the Raiders every single year. The Raiders are a really interesting team because, they always start the season out really tough. But as I tell everybody, the NFL season really heats up after the week of Thanksgiving. Because after the week of Thanksgiving is where we start to see the pretenders separate themselves from the contenders. And the Las Vegas Raiders always seem to be the pretenders after the week of Thanksgiving. And the way that the Raiders just melt down, man, that Miami Dolphins game is crazy, man. And a large reason for the Raiders not being able to finish these seasons out and making it to the playoffs is because of the defense. I've been saying this for over a year and a half now that the Las Vegas Raiders are a defense away from making it to the playoffs. Now, you bring in Gus Bradley as your defensive coordinator, who previously was the DC for the Chargers, so hopefully he can turn around your defense. And the Las Vegas Raiders, once again, brought in more defensive backs. And it's crazy because they keep on bringing in defensive backs, and I don't blame them. I mean, you got to keep drafting defensive backs until you get it right. Then you bring in Yannick Ngakoue in free agency. I think that's going to be a really big signing because if the Raiders can improve that pass rush, you already got Max Crosby, who's a stud, and you get Yannick Ngakoue, then that's going to help out that secondary because then if that pass rush in effect, that means your secondary isn't going to have to be in coverage for all that long. Now, I was really surprised at how bad Corey Littleton performed last year. I was really surprised. I thought he was going to end up being a Pro Bowler last year for the Las Vegas Raiders, but he wasn't all that great. Now, a lot of Raiders fans are saying this because the defensive coordinator didn't utilize him right. He wasn't in the best positions, and I definitely do agree with that because coaching does matter. So hopefully Corey Littleton can bounce back this year. You look at Jonathan Abrams. Jonathan Abrams is solid when he's able to stay on the field. Then you bring back Carl Joseph. So, I mean, the defense definitely did do a lot of work to try to improve this year. It's going to be really interesting to see if it pays off. The offense should pick up from where it left off last year. You bring in Kenyon Drake. Yeah, I was heavily against the signing, but you do have a really good 1-2 punch there. And you did need a third down back for real because Josh Jacobs isn't really that big of a threat when it comes to catching the ball out of the backfield. So I'm still not a big fan of it. I felt like you could have found another third down back in the draft per se, and you could have used that money that you spent on Kenyon Drake in free agency to improve your defense more. But, I mean, I think Kenyon Drake should fit in fine. I think it is improvement to the offense, and the offense still should be really good. I know some people are a little bit concerned about the offensive line, but I think the offensive line should be fine also. Now, my best case scenario for the Las Vegas Raiders is going to be 11-6. Like I said, the offense shouldn't be no concerns. The offense should do what it's been doing for over the last couple of years. Even though you do have some young wide receivers, you have Brian Edwards, who I feel could have a breakout season. You have Henry Ruggs, who hopefully he can have a better season this year than what he had last year. I think Henry Ruggs is like a Marquise Brown 2.0. He's more of a Robin, not a Batman. You got Darren Waller there. You got Josh Jacobs. You got Kenyon Drake. You got Derek Carr, who had a really underrated season last year. Derek Carr, during the first half of the season, should have been in the MVP discussion. And it's crazy because nobody really wanted to give Derek Carr his flowers, but Derek Carr balled out the first half of last year. He balled out for the whole entire season. Derek Carr should have been somewhat in that MVP discussion. He kind of was creeping up in those MVP talks, but once the Raiders there in the second half of the year started to fade away, then so did, the momentum that Derek Carr had in terms of making the case for MVP. But Derek Carr, really solid quarterback. I think this Raiders offense is going to be fine. The defense Okay, if this defense does improve under Gus Bradley, then the Raiders should be in the playoffs. Now, my worst case scenario for the Las Vegas Raiders is 6-11. What if the defense doesn't improve? What if the defense continues to be terrible for like it has been for like over the last decade? Then you probably will have to win the majority of your games in shootout fashion. And as we already know, the Raiders have been trying to do this for years, and it hasn't really went in their favor. So 6-11 is my worst case scenario for the Las Vegas Raiders. What if the offensive line, does take a decline in production? Because the offensive line very well could decline because the offensive line did lose a little bit. But that's my worst case scenario. If everything goes completely left for the Las Vegas Raiders, I think they win 6 games. Now, before I get into my overall record prediction, I want to give you guys my 2 swing games for the Las Vegas Raiders. These are games that I feel can define how the season will go for the Raiders this year. Week 15 against the Browns and Week 17 against the Colts. Now, you may be asking, okay, JT, why do you have 2 games that are late in the season as your 2 swing games? Well, you look at Las Vegas. This is a team that I think is a fringe playoff team. This is a team that can get into the playoffs, but they're also missing a couple of additional pieces, or I have a little bit of concerns when it comes to me as making them a playoff lock. Now, you look at the Browns. That's a big game. You got to go on the road. And remind you, you're the Las Vegas Raiders, so you're probably not going to be in the mix to win the division. That's probably going to be Kansas City. But you're probably going to be competing for one of those last playoff spots. And when you get to the late stretch of the season, around that Week 14 to like now Week 17 point, that's where things start to get really critical, because that's where things start to matter. And this is the part of the schedule last season that the Raiders did not do good in. Remember, they lost to Miami. You had that slip up against the Atlanta Falcons, and those games really cost them. Those games late in the season are the reason why the Raiders failed to make it into the playoffs. So you look at that Browns game, that's a really big game, because if the Raiders lose that game, then their playoff hopes take a really large hit. Then, on top of that, you have to face the Indianapolis Colts. The Indianapolis Colts Week 17 is going to be another tough game, because this is another team that, like you, is also probably going to be fighting for one of those last remaining spots in the AFC playoffs. So for the Raiders, these are 2 big games, because you're facing a Browns team that is pretty much a Super Bowl contender, one of the best teams, one of the most complete teams in the NFL. And you got a Colts team that is in the same situation that you're going to be in, trying to fight for one of those last remaining playoff spots. So my overall record prediction for the Las Vegas Raiders this year is going to be 7-10. I don't think the Raiders are going to make it to the playoffs this year. You hired Gus Bradley as your defensive coordinator. I'm not high on Gus Bradley. As a matter of fact, he didn't really do a great job with the LA Chargers last year. Like, the LA Chargers defense was not good, and you did have some talent. Now, although you have players who missed those couple of games of injuries, like, there was still a good amount of talent on that Chargers defense, and that Chargers defense blew a lot of leads. The Chargers defense last year under Gus Bradley was the main reason why that team had the season that they had, winning only 7 games, because there were a lot of situations where the defense was left on the field, and the defense would end up allowing the opposing team to score a game-winning touchdown to win the game. So I don't really have a lot of confidence in Gus Bradley. I don't really think he's going to turn around the Raiders defense. As a matter of fact, he didn't have success with the Chargers, so I don't understand why he would have success with the Raiders. I feel like his defense hasn't really been all that great. So I can't really see him having success with the Raiders, man. I just think that the Raiders kind of missed with hiring Gus Bradley. I feel like there were probably some better candidates that they could have hired to be their next DC, because Gus Bradley didn't really have that much success with the Chargers, and there was nothing that he really did during his time as a DC for the LA Chargers that gives me confidence to believe that he's going to be able to turn around this defense for Las Vegas. So 6-11 is 7-10 is my record prediction for the Las Vegas Raiders. You guys let me know your record prediction for the Las Vegas Raiders down in the comment section down below. Do you guys believe the Raiders will win 7 games? Let me know. Sound off. Make sure that you guys follow me on my social media pages. My Twitter and Instagram is both JT_Sports_. Links to those are down in the description down below. Also, make sure that you guys like the video, subscribe to the channel for more NFL videos and content. And thanks for watching.